Hello, and this is Maggie Candy. She's a care home manager who's been involved with the project from the very beginning and was heavily involved in setting it up. So we're going to have a bit of a chat today and just find out her thoughts on the project and how she's seen it as it's transpired from the beginning all the way through to how it is now.
Hello, James. Yes, it's a great project. We were very pleased to get funding from the Foundation of Nursing Studies for this project, which was for yoga in dementia care. We ran it on the first floor of our unit, Union Jack at Marble Court Care Home, where we have up to 30 clients with various stages of residential dementia. And as you're probably aware, exercise should be part of everyday life for people with dementia, but that doesn't always happen in care homes. And certainly when I first took over Marlborough Court, activities tended to be fairly unstructured and perhaps not as good as they could have been. And once we started to look at the things we should be offering, it just seemed part of a natural progression when Tania was coming to us to speak about doing armchair exercises and yoga. It was something that our clients really enjoyed doing, and obviously as a care home manager you should be encouraging innovation in care homes. We said that we'd do it as a trial, and I'm very pleased to say that the trial worked out really well. Great feedback from the clients. It was quite obvious that they were really enjoying themselves, and eventually as well there was positive feedback from the clients and their families. And I can't think of any reasons why all care homes shouldn't offer some sort of yoga within the care home.
As you said, it's really important that the residents have a regular form of exercise. But I think what often happens is that care homes see the fact that they've got a lot of elderly people and don't actually see how they can provide the exercise, and often think that maybe it's not something that they can do, so it gets pushed to the side. The residents themselves don't necessarily think that they're able to be doing exercise, so they don't put their hands up and go, "Excuse me, can we be doing some exercise?" And the residents' families also are unaware of what there can be done. But obviously something like chair-based yoga, I think what happens is that the residents themselves are constantly surprised by what they're able to. The families, when they come in or speak to the residents and they see that what their mother or father or whoever it is doing, are again themselves amazed. So it is really important, and as you said, this is a great way to get that into the care homes.
And it's clear that care homes have got to look at innovation. You've got to be forward thinking. It's not about what people can't do, it's about what can they do. What can you do within your own premises to make their lives better? And we worked very hard at introducing music, yoga, different activities, trying to get some life into a care home. And it would be resulting in the very sort of care home that you would want your own parents. If they had to go into a home, this would be where you'd want them to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the great things I think that happens with yoga and with other things similar to it, but if you can get somebody to start doing things which engages their hand-eye coordination, which is getting them to move around, then they're activating things and opening new neural pathways and activating things in the brain that they don't normally do when they're sat there, be it watching TV or just sat there in the chair. It's giving them something new to do, which if we're talking about things like dementia, there's many studies, and it's a developing thing, we know this, that are showing that this is something that can certainly help with that.
Yes, and there were lots and lots of really positive compliments and feedback from everyone, and particularly you engage your staff with what you're doing. It was a very interesting new concept for the care staff, and once they understood it, because they were involved as well, they really enjoyed it, and surprisingly they also then fully supported it, so it would make it easier to run in another care home once you get the staff on board. And it was just so obvious that it was helping people.
I was going to actually say, because of course one thing any care home could do is say, we need to get some exercise in and hire a yoga teacher like myself or Tania to come in and do it. But would you think that it makes a lot of sense to simply try and involve these sort of projects where you're training the staff who are in the care home? Because not only then are they able to take part in it, they're able to do this on many occasions, even if it's just sitting in the lounge and they're sitting with some of the people, they can get them involved in the various exercises when someone like myself isn't around.
Well, absolutely. I mean, for value for money within care, and that's really what everything's about these days. It's about sustainability and making sure that the things you introduce are going to actually carry on, even if you're not there at the home. And very few homes have the budget for the yoga teachers to come in every week, and that's why it's great to involve the staff, and it's great for them to get those skills.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things as well with yoga is that we know that the NHS and just in general has a big issue with older people when they fall and they'll have a hip damage,
Yes.
and then this will lead to an awful lot of downfall, often the mental health that the person finds themselves chair or bed bound for extensive periods of time. And this is often linked to things like balance. So obviously, depending on the age of the individual, but some things like yoga has been shown to sort of benefit in these ways as well, to just try and help their just general overall mobility and balance.
Well, it helps their balance, and also in a well-run dementia unit, you'll also find that there really is, the doctors try really hard to reduce the amount of antipsychotic medication that people are on. It makes them much more mobile, and therefore the risk of falls is actually higher because they're not over-medicated and staying in bed or dozing asleep all the time. So if we can do anything to promote mobility, we should be doing that, and yoga is ideal.
One of the things that I was talking to and heard from Hayley and Karen earlier on today, the activities coordinators that have been involved in rolling out this project, were saying that often if they have a day when they do the yoga in the morning, that they'll find that the rest of the day that often that the residents are substantially calmer.
Yes.
That was the word that they used, and they said that you might find them, whereas they would perhaps be normally very anxious and talking and moving around and bothered by things that are going on around them, after the yoga session, that they're much calmer and sitting there involved in what it is that they're doing. Have you found this, and what else have you sort of seen as a benefit?
We did observe that, and again, it is clear that if there's less agitation on a dementia unit, like Union Jack, it really helps. And for a long time, it was evident to see that there was actually a really nice feeling of well-being that was complemented on by many of the social workers and the doctors who visited, that actually said that, you know, for a unit that could be very anxious, the people were calm and they were peaceful in how they were living within our care home. And I think that's the secret to good dementia care.
So I take it from your experience, you have said already you'd like to see this sort of project running in other care homes. Is this sort of how you see things?
Well, it's the thinking for dementia care. I mean, you know, the real experts, of which there's very few, we should be doing everything possible to make people's lives as pleasant, as engaging as possible. And yoga has certainly engaged our residents at the care home. And CQC, the Care Quality Commission, are also very keen that there is innovation and engagement with the residents in the care home so that they can do as much as possible and keep as well as possible.
One of the things I found when I was involved in the class today was that it was apparent that some of the people were there in the class primarily because they just wanted the social aspect of it.
Yes.
But what I thought at the time, and I have to say I find this in normal yoga classes, not in a care home setting, is that people will come for a variety of reasons. You might get the young person who's there because they want the fitness exercise. You might get the person who doesn't have a lot of friends because they're new to the area and wants the social side. And in the dementia in the care home, I found that some of the people were there because it was just an opportunity to chat and to talk, and they were doing it. But I think if you're getting the people together and they're doing it, it doesn't matter what the reason is. They're still doing all the movements and they're going. And the thing that was really apparent was that they were all smiling all the time.
And initially, when we discussed with the Foundation of Nursing Studies about how we would run our yoga project, I was a little bit apprehensive about how our clients would engage and would join in. But actually, because it was quite relaxed and it wasn't too formal or rigid, it worked really well. And we even found that quite a few of the gentlemen got involved and seemed to be really enjoying it. And I actually think that within the care home, it was one of the best activities that we offered.
Yeah, that was the impression I got when I saw the class today. As I said, everybody was really happy, and there was certainly a variation across the group of how much they were involved in the specific things. But what I thought was very good, having just met Haley and Karen today, was the way that the people who wanted to do it but were having physical difficulty doing it, they were there immediately on help to help them raise their arm, to help them be involved, whilst at the same time allowing those that just simply wanted to be in the room and to be part of it without necessarily taking part in it to do that as well. And I think that's important because then that enables you to get more people together in the room, and that just goes further. And maybe this week and next week somebody won't physically do the things, but then after they've been a few weeks, they might then start to take part. Whereas they would be put off if they were being forced into something they weren't comfortable with.
Yeah, and it's also interesting to have like an open door policy, because when relatives came, they could join in. People said they would come of the residents, and then maybe at the time they didn't want to join in. That was okay as well.
So I guess in conclusion, what was your overall thoughts about the project?
I think it was a brilliant project. I think it was, although I was involved in the beginning and I supported it, as a home manager, really, you don't have much hands-on to do with projects. Tania was an excellent teacher, so I'd like to thank her. As a home manager, I would definitely look to introduce that to any other home that I worked at within. And definitely both Karen and Haley really developed in that role of becoming the yoga instructors as well within the care home. And from the Foundation of Nursing Studies, I'd like to thank them, because it's a great project. It'll live on within Marlborough Court, and definitely this is what other care homes should be doing.
Well, thank you for your time, Maggie. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you very much.